SpectrumTv, broadening your horizon. SpectrumTv, broadening your horizon.
Good afternoon and welcome to Political Spectrum here on Spectrum Television, reaching you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakura. My name is Otobasi Tam.
My name is Michael Akban.
Exactly, and very much what's trendy right now in the world of politics is maintain peace. That's pretty much becoming an adage in the state.
That is it. Actually, the MPM, the Maintain Peace Movement, is the strategy of our Governor Odom Emmanuel. He has put in place to make sure that things go well and so that peace will be sustained in the states ahead of the 2023 elections. Okay,
we are going to dig deep in that because we have a guest standing by. Yep. And of course, looking slightly back at the inauguration, it was massive. We saw entertainment and politics come together.
Yeah, entertainment and politics come together. You know, the PDP has proven to make sure that everything is always in place, like starting from the ward level to the local government level to now the state level, which happened on the 19th of November 2021. So it was massive. It was awesome.
Okay, just before we bring in our guest, if you missed out on that, we will take a look at this video, and right after that, we'll be having a guest here.
We'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere.
You know fit to living as I be, you know Grio. Hey, hey, now you them say, if now you go, people you. You know see me. People you sang back and I better what? You know fit to living as I be, you know Grio. Hey, hey, now you them say, if now you go, people you. You know see me. People you sang back and I better what? You know fit to living as I be, you know Grio. Hey, hey, now you them say, if now you go, people you. You know see me. People you sang back and I better what? Yeah, you know fit to living as I be, you know Rio. Hey, now you then said, now you hope you know see me. Pimayin sang bakara barawa.
Alright, we're here live at Nongdo Besikpo Asutan with the great and vibrant young people of the community, celebrating with Spectrum TV for being the first private television station in the Aqua Cross region. So this is what they had to say for all of us at Spectrum Television. You say, congratulations, Spectrum.
My name is Ike Brownson, an indigenous of Akwa Ibom State. It's a wonderful thing that this kind of a thing is coming down to Akwa Ibom, Spectrum Television. I mean, it's a big development in the entertainment industry and in the information industry. So I want to shout a big prop to Spectrum Television and give them a welcome applause in Akwa Ibom State. Spectrum Television.
I'm Mr. Edimo by name from Akwa Ibomite. So I see this TV station, Spectrum Television, coming to Akwa Ibom. I'm happy. At least it's one of the things that we need here in Akwa Ibom. I'm very happy, and I pray to him that he should come and stay and come and stand. The station should come and stand well, so that more things and more education will come out, and employment for youth will also come out. I congratulate the MD and the workers and everybody.
My young man, Gideon Sam. So I'm from here, Nongodo, Ibesikbom. Television channel station I maybe needing me. I found it my young man because I have better song. Some of person like me, you move and me see dog stage, me see dog studio, you see quiet, nam talk show, me way young Emma. So in the station, I have better me and the find it. Young my son name nam within the station. Congratulations to Spectrum Television.
My name is Peter Ankero. I'm so happy with Tony Afia because he has been able to prove to Akwa Ibom people and others that without politics, a private man can still exist and show the way to others. He has been able to prove himself as being the first.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying on the show. It's still Political Spectrum here from Spectrum Television. Of course, we've been talking about Maintain Peace movement.
We've been talking about Maintain Peace movement earlier on today, and we have a guest in our midst who is here to tell us more about Maintain Peace movement. He's no other person than Honorable Ituru Kolumba. He has been the immediate past chairman of Ikono local government, and he is the current secretary of the Maintain Peace movement in Ikono local government. And he was in the planning committee for the Maintain Peace movement, which just got inaugurated. Sir, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I also know you have a media background.
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
So,
okay, let's get down to it. We understand Ikono Anini was like the first local government area that had the train rolling.
Yes.
And you happen to be one of the persons that were inaugurated on that day.
Yes.
What would you say was the idea around the Maintain Peace movement?
Well, let me start by congratulating SpectrumTV on this, pivotal entry into the media space. This is the first.
Wow.
From an indigenous media entrepreneur in the Aqua Cross region, and it's worthy of celebration. I'd like to congratulate you, and I wish you well. It's a fantastic place to be, I must say.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to to returning. But I like to say, I think it was on the 28th of July that the whole idea of going through the various local government areas of Akwa Ibom State to sell the message of peace began. And the very first port of call was Ikono, and quite symbolically so, because Ikono is a conscious approach to properly accentuating the peace that we've enjoyed in the state in the last 6.5 years. And it's only someone who does not value a peace. And I doubt if there's anybody, any true Nigerian at the moment that can play down on the import of peace. Especially, I don't even want to take you into the remote, history of how it was like with us as a state. There was a time in this state that you were very certain that the following day someone was either going to be kidnapped or someone was going to be killed. The only thing you couldn't know was who was going to be the next victim. That's in the past. But if you take a look at the entire Nigerian space, you realize that there's barely any part of the country that is not ridden in one form of insecurity or the other, in one form of crisis or the other. And so when you come down to Akwa Ibom and you try to compare notes, you realize that this is an IOSIS, so to speak, of peace. And that's why the governor decided, as the leader of the state, as the governor of the people, to deliberately and consciously take this idea, take the narrative to the nooks and crannies of Akwa Ibom. And having achieved that, don't forget, I must also mention that after we had a cruise across the length and breadth of the state in terms of the local government areas. A time also came that we needed to take it deeper home, where we also traversed back in the various local government areas. We also decided to take the message to the various wards. So all the 329 INEC recognized wards of Akwa Ibom had a message of peace taken to their domain. And so it was only to be expected on the 19th of November that we needed to take the message to the center. And
just before we get to that, let's talk about the effectiveness of this movement.
Yes.
Now, you have rightly said that prior now we had minor issues with security.
That's right.
And now, how effective would you say this movement has been?
I even at the risk of sounding boastful, if the question wasn't so punchy. If you had asked me to rate on a scale of 1 to 100, I would have not asked what to answer. But let me tell you that ever since this philosophy, I call it a movement of the people, ever since this movement started, ever since this consciousness started, we've seen quite a number of accolades coming to the state. The other day, I mean, that one can anybody who does not belong to the People's Democratic Party can be swift to say, what did you expect from the national body of the party that is in government at the state? But the other day, the national body, the National Working Committee, who incidentally, was represented at the grand unveiling, did a press statement, and they said they charged Mr. President to emulate, the model that they came to see in Akwa Ibom. And only yesterday, a group called the Coalition of Northern Groups, came visiting, and the group was led by no mean a person than a former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Buhari Bala, and he led a high-power delegation to the state. And the idea was for them to come see, the realities of the benefits of the peace we've been preaching. And they saw various project sites that are either, duly completed. They went through the industries that the governor has brought, and they went through ongoing project sites, where work is ongoing on. And they could only come to terms with the fact that this could have been only possible because we've had peace in this state. And they didn't hide it. They told anybody who cared to listen that this is not the kind of narrative that they're seeing in their various, the various states back in the north. And so, because before now, people were saying, why take this message when we said we're unveiling, MPM to the global community, to the entire world. And people were saying, why take it to the world? But taking it to the world space, taking it to the national sphere, is also an indirect way of telling the story of Akwa Ibom. That this is what we stand for. This is our unique selling point. And we're glad that, only a few days after we did the grand unveiling, we're beginning to receive accolades. And even back
let's talk about the accolades now.
Okay.
You're talking about accolades. I know it's coming in from from the center. Would you say an average citizen of Akwa Ibom State
How does
in the streets?
How does the maintain peace movement impact their lives? Because in the streets now, a lot of people have been complaining that what are they doing? We don't even understand this. We don't even understand this. These are not the things they should be doing. So we want to really let us understand now, what impact does it have in the life of its citizens now?
Well, even at the risk of trying to unnecessarily, play back at our ignoble and very unfortunate past. I don't know how old you were, Michael, as a 2011. I don't know where you were, Thomas. As a 2011, yes. 2010, 2012, those who were around this state can tell you the story of what used to happen.
Yes.
And so anybody who believes that, celebrating peace, telling the story of peace and relishing the peace that we've been enjoying the last 6.5 years is not something that we should bring now. It should have a rethink, because peace is a fulcrum. Peace is a fulcrum of development.
Yes. Yeah.
If we didn't have peace in this state, as someone brought an example the other day, assuming Akwa Ibom was replaced, was in a state of anarchy. You can only imagine. Maybe guests coming to the state, and on their way out of the state, maybe as they're getting to the airport, they have the road blocked, and maybe most of them are harassed, and they can't even get to the airport to fly back to where they came from. You have an idea of the message that will send to the other parts of the country. Or assuming we did not have peace, do you think some of this investment that we have in the state would have been possible? So anybody who downplays peace and the import thereof must possibly have not been around.
Now,
wasn't around
peace,
about the time I try to
that.
paint a picture, and might not also come to terms with what's happening in other parts of the country where we don't enjoy the kind of peace that we have in Akwa Ibom.
Now, we understand that the message of peace is extremely versatile, it's extremely important, and a lot of persons, like you referred us back to 2011. I think at that time I was pretty much up to age.
I was up to age also.
Then
but you weren't in
talking about
Akwa Ibom,
that,
I guess.
It sounds like a myth, because when we hear about Warsaw and all of those things, we didn't actually see that in the street. Though even back then, Akwa Ibom was rated as one of the most peaceful states
in Nigeria.
Exactly. So how then do we so think that the peace movement is actually the reason for the peace we're enjoying now?
Well, I think it's wrong to say that it's not a peace movement that brought the peace we're enjoying. We need to get that right. The peace we're enjoying only gave birth to the peace movement. Which has been from
2011 down.
Which has been from 2015
down.
2011 was a dark. 2015.
2011 down.
Or 2015 down. Oh, you mean when the peace started coming?
Yes.
Yeah.
When we started having peace in Akwa Ibom.
That's what I'm saying. 2015, when the governor came, that was when the narratives
Before
changed.
the governor came, some people would beg to disagree with you that there was peace as well.
Okay.
Well, it depends on, peace is like when you said, even in 2011, 2012, 2010, any sane person who would have rated Akwa Ibom the most peaceful needed to have had some checks done on him, because we know the realities of what happened there. So I needed to put in proper perspective that it's not peace movement, the NPM, that gave birth to the peace we're enjoying. But it's actually the peace we're enjoying that gave birth to the maintain peace movement, because the whole idea is that you cannot maintain what you don't have. So the foundation is that there is already peace in existence. And that's why we say, for those who know what it's like to have peace, for those who place value on peace, let us sustain, let us celebrate, let us relish, let us maintain what we have. And that's what led to the emergence of the maintain
Thank
peace
you very
movement.
much. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to ask you this question now. You see that Maintain Peace Movement selected 36 men to pilot the affairs of the
6 men and women.
Men and women there. So we want to know now what prompted to the selection. How was these leaders selected? How was these men selected? Barrister Emmanuel Enoidem, who is the chairman of the committee, is a very good man. So we want to know, how was these leaders selected across the 31 local government? Was he selected across the 31 local government, or was he selected? Okay, is all the local government duly represented in the maintain peace movement?
Well, I would say no, because for instance, where I come from, we're yet to have a representative, on the National Executive Committee of MPM. But I must tell you that it's a process. What we did at the stadium was only the beginning of what's to come.
Okay.
Even when you have elections, there are certain offices that are filled, even after the early part of the process. So we look forward to, because we've had a few issues, some local government areas making complaints that they have not been represented. For us as a state, the important thing is not who makes the list of the NEC or maintain
so
peace
don't
movement.
You think he's going to bring disunity?
No, but I've already said that it's a process. I can assure you that in the next couple of weeks, if not days, I'm sure the leadership of that movement is going to take a look at some of the agitations we've been having, some of the complaints from some of the local government areas that have not been represented. So that I can assure you is going to be handled, and I'm sure a place like Ikono will have a representative on the neck of maintain peace.
Okay. Now, just quickly before you come in there, we have seen, aside from the message that this movement preaches, which is peace.
Yes.
Would you say that this is a form of a political structure ahead of 2023?
Well, that was the insinuation, that was the perception that many people had prior to the 19th of November.
It was on a Friday.
I remember, yes, it was on a Friday. I remember I was even on a live phone-in program on the morning of that event with your sister radio station, Planet. I'm sure I can mention that because Planet and Spectrum are the same. Nobody will give me any bill as I step out of here.
Yeah, sure.
So I remember saying that if there's anybody who expect, for instance, I can tell you this, even before you asked, many people were of the opinion that the governor, the leader of the state, was going to use the grand unveiling of MPM to
political campaign,
to point at a direction, as to who was going to succeed him. But either he was going to raise someone's hand, or it was going to, his body language was going to be reflective of the fact that, hey, look, this man is likely going to succeed me. And I remember telling Mr. President on the People's Parliament that if there is anything I'm sure people are going to be disappointed on, is the fact that the perception they have about the grand unveiling that was to hold on the 19th was not going to be about politics. It was not going to be so much about succession plan. It was not going to be so much about who is going to succeed the governor. Even though I also said, because even before this question comes, I also would tell anybody who cares to listen, there is nobody, even military administrators who used to be posted, for instance, what happened in the military era. If you are from Akwa Ibom, you were in the military, you were likely going to be posted to maybe a state in the north. Even military administrators who were posted from states other than theirs, if they were a bit patriotic about the state they were sent to go and serve, there's no way they would not be interested on who takes over from them. More so a sitting governor who is a civilian, who is a native of the state, who has toiled, to see what to do to develop the state, who has taken the state on a trajectory of development in the last 6.5 years. And somebody will think that it should absolutely be indifferent. It should be apathetic. It should just be nonchalant about who is going to take over from him. It only takes a failure. It takes a man who never did anything. That he won't give two hoots about who succeeds because he didn't leave anything on ground. But if a sitting governor who is patriotic enough, who has invested in the development of the state, and is on the verge of leaving. If you ask me again, I would say it is not out of place for the government to be interested on who succeeds him. Even a Milad who be interested in who succeeds him, even if it's posted to another state.
Let's take a look at another viewpoint here. There's this viewpoint that the governor.
So I don't know if I pointedly answered your question, because you ask, is there any nexus between 2023 and the maintain peace movement?
Exactly.
So I can tell you, if there is such a relationship, is secondary. The most important, what is the greatest, or that is on the focus of MPM, is to try to see how we can consolidate on what has brought about the development that Akwa Ibom is enjoying today. And I said a while ago that if you ask me, that major fulcrum is peace.
So it is partly the aims of the maintain peace movement.
Yeah, because we know if we properly, sustain the peace we're enjoying, properly accentuate it, then it is only to be expected that whosoever is going to take over from the governor will continue on that trajectory. And as long as we remain peaceful, there's no way development will not continue to trickle in. So that's the idea.
Like you said earlier, that the primary focus is to maintain the peace.
That's right.
Yeah, to maintain the peace. Is there any relationship between, okay, let's say the secondary focus now. Can I relate the secondary focus of maintain peace movement to the zonal issues, like the zoning in respective offices? Because let's say now the governorship position, we say is zoned to Uyo Senatorial District, as they all say. So is there any relationship either ways or by any other ways? Because if you're talking about the selection process now, you see that the barrister Emmanuel Enoidem is from the Iko Senatorial District, the deputy Nye Kambasi is from Uyo. Like, it was zoned across board. So is maintain people, the MPM, the steering committee, are they in charge of checking where each offices are zoned to in the state?
No, I don't think so. I doubt if that's part of the mandate of the NEC of MPM. The issue of zoning, for instance, you mentioned governorship, and I can take you up on that. The issue of zoning of governorship has always been on the basis of senatorial districts,
yes,
not on other clannish or ethnic considerations, not on federal constituency basis. It's always been on senatorial district, and that's why if you notice in 1999, Obama came on board as governor, and he's from Uyo Senatorial District. When he was done with that, in a bid to ensure that there was justice, equity, and fair play, it was only to be expected that the thing should move to another senatorial district. And it moved to Iko Senatorial District. So Iko Senatorial District finished their turn, and it naturally had to go take a senatorial district. So it's only to be expected that that cycle must continue unbroken. And so the governorship position is, without doubt, without any iota of equivocation, coming back to Uyo Senatorial District. It's left for the people of Uyo Senatorial District to shop for the best candidate that is going to help us maintain what we're enjoying as a state, and throw such a person up, and the entire state will join in ensuring the person gets elected. So
are you
the issue of NEC of MPM.
Are you saying, let me cut you this, are you saying there's not going to be a microzoning within the system?
Well, it has never been since 1999. I was of age enough to see the process that happened in 1999. So the argument of microzoning wasn't part of it. So except there is, because I hear, I understand that politics is quite dynamic. Except the shakers and movers want to sit back and tell us that it's time to begin to microzone. But as far as I'm concerned, up until this moment, the dynamics, has always been that. It has always been that when it moves from one senatorial district, it goes to another. You get my point, and that's why you're most likely going to have a large chunk of those who are going to be contesting for the office of governor in 2023 coming from Uyo Senatorial District.
Can I ask you this question, please? Are you trying to tell us now, will you say that the MPM, the steering committee, now the 36-man steering committee, is in capable hands?
Yeah, absolutely. Look at the pedigree
what
of those.
conviction do you have about that?
No, I have a very strong conviction. Look at the pedigree of those who are manning, the leadership structure. You want to talk about Emmanuel Enoidem, someone who has been local government chairman, someone who's been a law lecturer, someone who was the pioneer, treasurer of the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom, someone that had served in multiple ministries as a member of the State Executive Council as Honorable Commissioner, someone who had moved on to play national politics. He became the national legal advisor, and in other words, a member of the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, and is only to exit office in December. So if you look at his pedigree, you can't fault his capacity to lead MPM. Or you want to talk about the speaker, someone who has enjoyed, the mandate of his own people, and he has gone to the House of Assembly twice, and he found favor in the sight of the other 25 colleagues of his, and he was made the speaker, the number 3 man in the state. So just bring out an individual, and I'll run through the profile and prove to you that they have
now,
the capacity
just
to lead.
before we get into that, we'll go on a brief timeout. When we return, the show continues. It's still Spectrum Television, and don't go away.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
They have gone around the whole state, all the 31 local government areas. They've brought out one message of peace, message of unity, message of brotherhood. And I want to say here that this message is starting today in Akwa Ibom. This message is needed in all the 36 states of Nigeria. This message must go around Nigeria that we need peace, we need unity, we need love, we need brotherhood. Don't come and divide us. Politics will never divide us. Political parties will never divide us. We will never be divided because of religion. We have made a statement today. A lot of people had a misconception. What's all about? What the governor wants to see. I want to stand in the gap as the leader of the state and declare peace in Akwa Ibom State. Peace in all the 31 local government areas of the state. Peace in every ward of this state. Peace in every unit of this state.
Thanks for staying on. The show is Political Spectrum, and we're still here talking with Honorable Itero Kolumba. He is the former chairman of Ikona local government area. Of course, I would like you to relate the peace movement with reality. Now, there are some assertions that an hungry man is an angry man. And of course, some people are of the opinion that words should be matched with actions. And we had a guest who talked about the nature of our roads. He said if the road is walked, there will be peace. The people will maintain peace in around local government area. So how would you marry the nature of projects in Akwa Ibom with peace movement? Do you think the people can actually maintain peace?
Yeah, they can. And don't forget, I'm glad you cited your road as one of the examples. Yes. The last time I checked, there's no record that the Biakoran Road has been abandoned. So it's an ongoing project. Yes, there's no such record. And even the governor, I think the last time your radio station had an opportunity to engage him, I think during the last interactive session, he gave assurances that this road was going to be completed.
No, that was
before, so before the end of his tenure. So, but you see, the governor seemed to have bitten off so much, and that's why people tend to think that we have quite a handful of projects that work are ongoing on. It seems to have taken up so many projects in one fell swoop. But I can assure you, I'm not a spokesperson of government. I'm not in government at the moment, but I can assure you that if I know the governor too well, and he keeps reassuring Akwa Ibom people, all the projects he started, he's not a man who believes in white elephant. It's all the projects he started, he's going to complete them. And we still have copious time in our hands. We have a 1 full year plus for some of these things to get done. And we're glad. We just pray that the rains will let us, because can you imagine having heavy rain in November at this time, at the twilight of November. So we just pray that the rains will let us. I can assure you that all the projects he initiated are going to be completed, including the Biakoran Road. I have a good history of this road. For about 2 years, I used to apply it every other day on a weekly basis to come in to present program on your radio station. So, but what I've come to see, there's been a little mileage. I've seen the earthwork that was done. I've seen the drainage. And I understand that it's even better if you're coming in from the Ndwetong end. So there is hope. I want to assure you. And it extends to other parts of the state. All the project that the governor has started, his intention is not to leave behind any single project undone.
That's interesting to know that.
So I can give you those assurances.
Exactly.
So I know that when we have those things in place, it will help us, to continue to maintain what we are preaching.
Exactly. That's good. On that note, I think we have you to wrap here. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Toba.
I hope that when we call on you again, you'll availous.
Thank you. But next time I come, if it's for 11, Mike should do it to tell me it's for 11. Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much for staying on the show. My name has been Otto Basitam.
And I'm Michael Akban. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
All right, we're here live at Nongdo Besikpo Asutan with the great and vibrant young people of the community, celebrating with Spectrum TV for being the first private television station in the Aqua Cross region. So this is what they had to say for all of us at Spectrum Television. You say, congratulations, Spectrum.
My name is Ike Brownson, an indigenous of Akwa Ibom State. It's a wonderful thing that this kind of a thing is coming down to Akwa Ibom, SpectrumTelevision. I mean, it's a big development in the entertainment industry and in the information industry. So I want to shout a big prop to SpectrumTelevision and give them a welcome applause in Akwa Ibom State. SpectrumTelevision.
I'm Mr. Edimo by name.
Spectrum TV, broadening